So in this lecture, we're going to cover two different topics, but they're all sort of under the same umbrella, and it's about auto-completing edit text for our user. They're trying to fill in some information. We want to make it that much easier for them. So we're going to learn about the new autofill API that comes with Android API 26, 8.0, and also we're going to learn about autocomplete, which came about, I believe, in API 22, but you're going to see both and how you can use them in your app. So let's go ahead and start a new Android project. I'm just going to call this AutoFun because we're working with both the autofill API and the autocomplete. So let's just go ahead and name that. Now it is important, make sure you have API 26. We want the latest and greatest here so that we can see what those new autofill APIs look like. And then we want an empty activity here and finish up. So that will go out and create our project for us. So first, we are going to talk about how we can work with the autocomplete API. I think that one's really excellent. Basically, the idea is you can take what is essentially an edit text and turn it into an autocomplete edit text, and you can basically provide suggestions to your users about what could go in there, and you get to decide what it is that you're going to suggest. It's really just you create an array of strings and have it show up just like you would do inside of a list view. It's pretty straightforward that way. So to kind of talk about this, let's just sort of set up a situation here. Let's maybe have an app where you message your friends or something like that. And so people, when they compose a new message, they're going to be typing in a friend's name, and you want to autocomplete it so they don't have to type out a friend's full name to get to them. So if that's the case, then we want to have a string array. Maybe we'll just call it friends, and maybe let's call it friends instead of ferns. Come on, spelling. And then we'll go ahead and fill it in with some values. So maybe we'll have Nick in there, and there's arch rival Rick. Oh, better put that in double quotes. Maybe we'll also have Sarah, someone else here, James. And I'm also, to kind of show you how this autocomplete works, I'm going to put in a couple of end names here. So I'm going to do Nina as one. I'm also going to have Noel, and let's do another one. This probably isn't a real name, but I'm going to do Nide because this is going to help with the example that we're doing. So we have this array of friends, right? And like I said, it's as simple as connecting. Well, I guess before we do this, let's make the autocomplete edit text, and then we'll get to this step. So let's go over to our main activity, and we'll go ahead and, so if we look inside of what we have right now, there's just a simple text view, and we want to first get an edit text, but then even then it's a special version of an edit text. So we'll go ahead and select that text view and delete it. Then if we go to the text category, all the way down at the bottom, you can see there's this autocomplete text view. So we'll go ahead and just drag this out. You can decide where you want this. I'm going to have mine be a certain distance from the top, then also a certain space from the left and the right. Okay, and with this, I don't want to have any text in there at the beginning, so I'm just going to go ahead and empty that out. And when I do that, it looks like it shrinks it. So let's go ahead and make sure this goes all the way to the edge here. There we go. Well, not all the way to the edge, but at least a certain distance that I can type something out. So that looks pretty good. Autocomplete text view. It's kind of a lame ID, but we'll just leave it at that. And then let's go ahead and get access to that. So we'll say autocomplete text view, which we'll just call, let's call it the thing. Autocomplete text view is equal to find view by ID r.id.autocomplete text view. All right, with that in place, like I said, this is very much similar to when you want to fill up a list view. So with this string of friends, or array of friends, then we want to go ahead and make an array adapter. So we're going to say array adapter of a bunch of strings, which we'll just call array adapter is equal to a new array adapter, and we'll just pass in this for the context. Then we'll do lowercase android.r.layout simple list item 1, and we'll go ahead and pass in the friends array there. You know you've been doing enough Android when you can pump out android.r.layout.simple list item 1, like you just in your memory, like, oh yeah, that's the thing that we need when we make a list view. All right, so we get that array adapter, and then really you're going to be blown away here. We just take this autocomplete text view, right? And we just say set adapter, just like that. So we're going to say set adapter, and we pass in our array adapter. Boom. That is all we need. So let's go ahead and run this so you can see what this looks like. Again, we are here working with the auto complete text view, and then we're going to be talking about the autofill API framework, however you'd like to phrase that. So the basic idea is this app's going to open up, and as we start typing out the name of a friend, if we start typing out with an R, it's going to hopefully show us Rick, and if we do an S, it'll show Sarah. And then why I have all these N names is because I wanted to show you if we do an N, it'll show all the N's, and if we do an NI, it'll show Nick, Nide, Nina, but not Noel, and then we can keep sort of moving from there. So let's go ahead and pull up our emulator. Come on, Android Studio, we believe. There we go. All right. So here it comes, and if we start typing inside of here, like I said, we'll do the NI. Look at that. There's all our names. Let's try out Sarah. If I do an SA, oh, it shows Sarah. That's pretty cool. James, let's try the JA. Boom, he pops up. And if you're wondering, if you type one of these out, like I select Nina, it will fill it in the rest of the way for us. And these are just like a edit text. So you can go ahead and get the text that's from inside of there, turn it into a string, whatever it is that you want to do. But you might have noticed something that I think is a little bit annoying here is that I'd like it if I type out just the letter N, it would show me all the N's. If I type out an R, it would show me all the R's. But instead we have to type out, at least 2 letters in order for it to show up. But that is customizable. And so the way to fix that is you take your autocomplete text view and you say set threshold. So this is how many characters someone has to type in order to get essentially these suggestions to pop up. So if we set it to 1, that's going to say they only need to do 1 letter, and we'll go ahead and search. And the basic idea behind this is, maybe if you have a huge array that you're tapping into with only 1 letter, it's not going to be enough. Like, it just doesn't make sense. But 2 at that point, maybe it's good. And maybe for your situation, you want them to type 3, 4, 5 characters, whatever it is. But just know that that is customizable. So here comes the app, and now you'll see when I type N inside of here, look at that, Nick, Nina, Noel, Nide, and if I do NI, all of a sudden Noel drops out. Same thing now if I do like a J, it goes for James, S, Sarah, boom, there it is. Okay, so there's the autocomplete text view, which I think is really great. Now the next one is the autofill framework API, whatever you want to call it. So this is the ability to have an app fill in edit text in other people's apps and websites, stuff like that. And you can only have one default app that does this at a time. So 99% of the time, it's going to be a password manager. Android has very explicitly stated in their documentation, if you're using this technology, you're most likely a password manager, which if you are a password manager, you're probably a pretty large-scale operation. And so there's not really a lot of relevance for us. But the part of relevance that we have is if someone's password manager is going to work with our app, we have to be able to work with it. And so there's a little work that we have to do on our end so that apps that use this autofill API can then successfully work with our app. And it's really simple. Anywhere that you have an edit text, you just have to go into the XML and add a new attribute inside of here. So what we're looking for is the Android autofill hints. Okay, so go ahead and select this. And once you do this, basically what you're trying to do is tell the app, what kind of information you're looking for in this particular edit text. So for example, if we were looking for a username of somebody, we would type in all caps autofill, and we want _hint_ username. Okay. And there's all sorts of different strings that we can use here. So, there's autofill hint email, autofill hint phone number. I think there's a great list of these. In fact, if you just go ahead and copy this whole string, and if we opened up Safari, for instance, if we paste this in, I'm pretty sure we can get the full list here. So let's see, autofill framework. So look, there's another one, autofill hint password. I mean, that would be a really, really big one if you're a password manager. But the idea is, whatever it is in your app that you're going to be using, that you'll, put these here so then that those apps can say, hey, someone's trying to fill out a username, I'm going to suggest this option. And it essentially brings up a menu very similar to what we have here, where it says, oh, are you looking to add this? So again, from my perspective, it's very unlikely that you're going to be making an app with the autofill API to be like the password manager on someone's phone. Maybe you are, and if you are, props to you. But more than likely, you want to do your best to anywhere you have an edit text that you think could work with this autofill, that you do your part to support that to make it easier for your users. Okay? Well, that's all I've got for you. Hope you learned about these two things. Both of them are just these small little tips that we can add to our app to make it that much easier for our users. I'm sure they'll really appreciate our work.